I'm Vinnie Politan. Great to have you with us tonight here on Closing Arguments. We're going to begin this hour in the low country of South Carolina. Alec Murdaugh, you know he's getting ready. He wants a brand new trial. He was convicted in the trial that everyone watched, the biggest trial of 2023, the biggest trial in the history of the state of South Carolina, and one of the biggest cases we've had here on Court TV in quite some time. Well, he is alleging that the woman who read the verdict to the world, Becky Hill, the court clerk, interfered in this case and interfered with this jury during the course of the case, before his testimony, also interfered during the course of deliberations, and then wrote a book about all of it. So this hearing, she will be obviously in the middle of all of it in this hearing before a brand new judge, when she will be called to testify about what happened. You know, she may or may not even say anything. I don't know. I don't know if she's going to take the fifth, if she's going to speak, if we're going to hear it. Let me put up on the screen what the defense thinks should happen here. The defense says she does not need to be shielded from scrutiny in the same manner as anonymous jurors involuntarily summoned to serve. She is a witness against Mr. Murdaugh in a criminal case whom Mr. Murdaugh has a right to challenge in open court. So they want to go after her in open court. Now, I mentioned she wrote a book, and there are allegations involving the book as well. That there were some elements of the book that were plagiarized. The book that she wrote right afterwards. That part of what she put in those pages were not her own work, was not her own work. So now you saw the book cover there. She wrote the book with someone. Neil Gordon is his name. He's been on this show before. And I had asked him what it was like to work with Becky Hill and what type of person she was. Take a listen.
But we felt it was a story that should be told. I mean, in my lifetime, I'm 59 years old. I don't know that there will ever be another trial like this. And it was my honor and pleasure to work with somebody with such integrity and character as someone like Becky Hill.
Well, she's now been accused of plagiarizing all of this, and we know the allegations coming from the defense, so I want to bring back in special guest joining us, co-author of Behind the Doors of Justice, the Murdaugh Murders, Neil Gordon, back with us. Neil, great to see you tonight. I have to get your response, because you've spoken glowingly about Becky Hill, but now you've learned a little more that part of the book that she wrote, she didn't write. What are your thoughts about the plagiarism, and has your opinion of Becky Hill changed at all?
Well, I was so caught off guard. You know, there was a FOIA request where probably 2,100 pages of her emails were brought out. And a couple of weeks ago, just before Christmas, I read through them like so many other people. And I was so shocked when I saw correspondence between her and a reporter from the BBC, and the BBC had accidentally sent her a draft of an article thinking that she was sending it to a different Becky back in the BBC newsroom. And I recognized the content in the copy right away. I immediately went to the book, and I noticed that that was ostensibly what our preface was. And I called her up right away, and I said, Becky, I said, that's plagiarism. We can't do that. It's absolutely improper, unethical, and just surprised me. Despite all of the various things that you hear, it's spent so many months together just working on this book, and I was just really disappointed and really shocked, felt betrayed. And, sometimes, Vinnie, in life, you think you know someone and then other things occur, and it maybe wasn't the person that you thought that they were. And we'll see how everything plays out. But it was certainly very disappointing.
Does it make, in your mind, it more possible that maybe she did say some of the things that is alleged by the defense through these juror affidavits, that maybe she had said some improper things to the jury?
I wasn't there. I don't know. Everyone is saying what's happened with the book and what she's being accused of in so many other different situations, whether it be using her office for personal gain, whether it be something to do with the phones that she was supposed to be turning in to SLED and wiretapping accusations. All of those things mounted, certainly, you've probably read and seen, doesn't put her in the best light. So I don't know. I'm sure that's exactly what Judge or Justice Toll is going to discuss a week from tomorrow when she gets all the attorneys together. And then if she decides to have the evidentiary hearing on the 29th, 30th, and 31st, Becky will get a chance to answer those or not answer those charges.
Well, let's ask you this, because you're connected to her now to a certain extent, right? Your name's, and you spend a lot of time with her. Do you think there's any chance that either side might subpoena you and might call you in to testify? And if so, what would you have to say?
Well, there was, I think, a 21-page order that came out between both the defense and the prosecution recently. And I believe in one of Dick Harpootlian's paragraphs, he said that he was going to perhaps look through passages of the book to see if that had any significance or not, and speak to people associated with producing the book. So I'm assuming that's me. So my phone number is 706. No, I'm just kidding. I'm happy to be honest and be called in and answer anything that I am asked. And have no problem with that whatsoever.
Now, you're a journalist, right? I mean, this has been a big part of your life. You've written things, you wrote this book. Now you're associated with a book that contains things that were plagiarized. So did you take any action, and what did you do as a result of finding out that your co-author, who you thought you knew and you trusted, had lifted some parts of what she said she wrote from somewhere else?
Well, I certainly, first of all, tried to give her the benefit of the doubt and asked exactly what happened. And once she acknowledged that under deadline pressure of trying to provide more content, she did go back through her email and she did lift the material and send it in. And once she acknowledged that, I immediately contacted my attorney. We had a conversation. I then called back and spoke to her husband, who's our business partner, and we decided to immediately ask Amazon to unpublish the book and the audiobook, the Kindle version, any versions that we had. And then in addition to that, we reached out to the writer of the article in the BBC and apologized and explained what happened. And then we reached out to our insurance carrier to put them on notice because we carry errors and omissions insurance coverage. So we went through that entire process. And Vinnie, what we learned, and maybe this is the genesis of being a self-published author and dealing with Amazon the first time, is we had such success of selling thousands of copies each month that Amazon felt comfortable that would continue for the foreseeable future. So they warehoused books. And in the fine print, in their contract, they are allowed to go ahead and liquidate those books, even when you say, please stop, no more. And so even though we unpublished it and they are not printing any more books, they have liquidated all the hardcovers and there's no more audiobook or Kindle for sale. But even today we had a few paperback books, and there's been almost 900 books sold since I discovered on December 22nd about the plagiarism. And we've kind of taken a big hit on social media. You mentioned we're kind of inextricably tied to Becky in this book. and we don't want to take any of that money. I mean, that money, the book was supposed to be stopped. So we don't want to take any of that money. And, you know, after expenses and, you know, our proceeds, our net proceeds, our share of it is a few dollars a book. So we're going to donate that money to some charities in the Low Country. There's a lot of really wonderful foundations and scholarships set up for children to get a good education. You know, some pockets of the Low Country are very poor. And so it's something my wife and I want to do, and if you will, try to make something good happen of what I think was very bad and what occurred just before Christmas.
Well, Neil, I always appreciate your honesty and willing to answer any questions that I throw at you. So thanks so much. I think now that you stop publishing, people that have those books, they'll probably go up in value now because it's a collectible. You can't get it anymore, right?
Well, the only time we had this level of sales was when we launched it, and after I went on the program. Remember, Dick Harpootlian had the press conference. It seems like when there's some kind of volatility going on or controversy, people like to get it, and you're right.
Well, people are trying to get those last few copies that Amazon has right now, probably as we speak. But Neil, thanks so much. Appreciate it. I'm sure we'll speak again as we get closer to this date. Have a good night. Thank you.
You too, Vinny.
All right, let's bring in our think tank. Joining us tonight in Englewood Cliffs, New Jersey, criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor Al Wunsch III. Also joining us from abroad, I guess, or somewhere, Antigua. He's in Antigua tonight. We were wondering. Criminal defense attorney Darnell Crossland, and in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, family law attorney Jennifer Brandt. All right. So Becky Hill, plagiarism. I mean, that goes to credibility. You write a book that you didn't really write. You're going to have to testify, or you may be. What's going to happen? What's going to happen if the judge has this hearing at the end of the month, Al? And the subpoena goes out for Becky Hill? What do you expect to happen?
Well, you know, Ben, I personally would like to see a world without plagiarism. But then again, you could say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. And under the circumstances, what do I think would happen here with regards to Miss Hill? I think that she's going to be put on the stand. I don't think that this aspect of plagiarism is that big of a deal as opposed to what she did with regards to the jury. I don't think anyone gives a
But what if it's a he said, she said, and you got a member of the jury saying she did this and she says I didn't do that?
Well, okay, that does go, you know, false in one, false in all. That does go to our credibility. But, you know, if I'm sitting there taking a look at things, you know, the plagiarism to me is, you know, she screamed out that she was, you know, that on a pressure thing, and she put this thing in there. I mean, there's no doubt that this woman has done something ridiculous. And there's no doubt that a person who is being put away for life deserves to have a fair trial and deserves to have everything done, and his rights should be protected. I don't see how they're going to get away with not giving him a new trial under these circumstances. I think it would be an absolute affront to the justice system if they let this situation go. And it's a lesson that we all have to learn, that you know, how she was even able to do this and was known to be doing it is just abhorrent, and it should never have happened.
Darnell.
Well, the first thing is I'm surprised that Al haven't showed us a copy of the book on the screen, because I'm sure he's just one-up everybody. I guess he didn't get to the Amazon quick enough. That's the first point.
I don't have a copy of that book.
I'm shocked. I'm very shocked. You know, you let me down. I'm going to go get a copy. But what's important
what
here...
I do have, though, what I do have is the Court TV Rules and Regulations, the 11th edition, that's edited by Vinnie Politan. And this is the autographed copy of this book. So that one I do have.
What's important here is that the rules is that it's the appearance of impropriety or the appearance of impartiality, not the actual fact of it. So Alec Murdaugh is heading towards a new trial because it's not about whether she did it or not, or if she gives us a justification for what she did. It's the fact that it appears to be wrong. And we cannot, as Al said at the end of his statement, We cannot have a system that the man who's facing life in jail has a trial that doesn't, on all four legs, appear to be proper. So the fact that they've been able to muddy the waters here, I give them a lot of credit for it, and I think we're heading towards a new trial. And what happens to the trial is, you have to be known. But what we see here is like a gift for a defense attorney. I mean, you normally have to scrape for appeal issues. This is like a gift. It fell right in their lap.
All right, Jennifer, do you have a copy of the book?
No, but I thought I saw it on Al's bookshelf back there where he's sitting. I think he's hiding it somewhere.
Yeah. Okay, so we only have about 20 seconds here, Jennifer.
Yeah, they took my time again, Vinnie.
They did.
Yeah.
Your thoughts, do you think if these allegations are true, that he gets a new trial?
Well, I mean, I'll have to agree with Al and Darnell on that issue, but I mean, it's just amazing that in the face of all the evidence that was against Alex Murdaugh, that he will potentially get a new trial, and that, the system and the taxpayers are going to have to pay for another trial like the one that we saw before. It's crazy that could really happen. I understand why, but it's just, it seems so wrong. It's so many
Maybe back in the low country this summer, folks. All right, Al Wunsch, Darnell Crossland, Jennifer Brandt with us the whole hour. Up next. The flying felon of Las Vegas returns to court to face the same judge. We will show you exactly what happened.
We are moving closer to trial in the case against doomsday prophet Chad Daybell.
Prosecutors say they will seek the death penalty against him.
Investigators have recovered human remains at Chad Daybell's residence.
There's no way, Logan, I can never come up with this.
His wife, Lori Vallow Daybell, has already been convicted.
Now, will her husband end up with the same fate?
It's just so hard to know where the truth ends.
It's the doomsday prophet, Chad Daybell, on trial.
I appreciate that, but I think it's time that he gets a taste of something else, because I just can't with that history. In accordance with the laws of the state of Nevada, this court...
Judge Holthus out in Las Vegas, Nevada, saved by her law clerk, Michael Lasso, saved her. She was able to come back into court, and guess what happened now? Same defendant brought back so she could finish the sentencing that was interrupted by his leap over the bench. What a dramatic day in Las Vegas. Take a look.
Page 34. State Nevada versus Deobra Redden, C-373-697.
Mr. Almasi's here now.
Morning, Judge.
Good morning. All right, this is on for the continuation of Mr. Redden's sentencing. When we were last here, arguments were concluded and the court had begun to pronounce sentence when an incident occurred. An incident initiated by Mr. Redden, preventing the court from completing sentencing. That is the sole purpose for today's hearing. Any other issues that may arise from the events that occurred last Wednesday will be handled at a future date by a different court. For purposes of the record, I want to make it clear that I am not changing or modifying the sentence I was in the process of imposing last week before I was interrupted by defendant's actions. I am making my calendar page from that day an exhibit for the court as it existed the moment I walked in. From prior to anything happening, nothing's been changed, indicating the sentence I intended to impose. I'll let you with that for a moment. All right, that being said, in accordance with the laws of the state of Nevada, this court does now sentence you in addition to the $25 administrative assessment fee, $150 DNA fee, the $3 DNA administrative assessment fee, and $250 indigent defense fee, 19 to 48 months in the Nevada Department of Corrections. How much credit for time served does he have?
It's 0 days. He was on probation when he committed the offense and was revoked on probation to serve the jail time October 25th. That time it expired at about the time of the plea. So
He's 0 days credit. Mr. Almasi, if that's different, let us know and we'll fix it.
I will.
The motion to quash my employment to move at this point. And for the record, I just reflexively wrote 0 days credit time served on the notes instead of what I just said. So that is an addition as of right now.
That's correct. The probation case number, just for the record, is C370775.
Thank you.
19 to 48 months in prison. Let's bring it back in our think tank. Al Wunsch, Darnell Cross, and Jennifer Brandt. Darnell, your reaction to the whole situation, the leap, the rescue, then bringing him back into court today with those orange gloves on, the spit mask, and a lot of security.
I can't even believe that I'm about to say what I'm saying. I'm overwhelmed. I mean, these shows are very, very serious to me because I do this stuff every day. So it's not like I'm sitting around making commentary about stuff that's not a part of my life. So what I'm about to say is very, very refreshing to me. That's one of the most awesome judges I've ever seen. The fact that she stayed focused, this fact that I don't see anything personal. I mean, we've watched cases on court TV here where the lawyer who was in jail, was in the hospital and couldn't make it to court on time, and the judge seemed so personal. Here, the guy leaps across the bench, damn near almost kills this lady, and she's so professional, and she's so poised, and I'm in love with what I'm seeing, and I think more judges should be like this lady. So another court will handle the other sentencing. She's making her calendar an exhibit to be totally transparent. I mean, she's amazing. I'm totally impressed.
Jennifer Brandt.
I agree with Darnell, and I think she's really brave as well. I mean, anyone would be nervous having him come back into the courtroom, even though he was pretty well covered with security and somewhat restrained with the boxing gloves on.
He's got the gloves, he's got so he's cuffed, the feet are shackled, his face is covered as well. And
but
then
look at him. He looks pretty mean. I mean, he looks a little scary, and you just don't know what this guy is going to do. If he took a jump like that before, it was crazy. So she's pretty brave to handle him again. And I agree with Darnell, very professional, and she didn't hold a grudge at all. And she wanted to make that very clear that she was going to sentence him with his original sentence and wasn't going to add on to that for what he did. Even though I think she would have a right to be pretty angry.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And that other case will be in front of a different judge for what he did in the court by jumping over the bench and assaulting the judge. Al, your thoughts about this entire situation?
Well, I got to say, initially I was a little surprised that she even handled this. But then I thought to myself, it's like, she had to handle this under the circumstances that you don't want defendants thinking that they can get a change of judge if they do something stupid like he did in the court on that day. And I agree with with what Darnell said, and I agree with Jen said. She was very professional, and everything was done very well across the line. She didn't show any personal animus, and I think that was a spectacular job on her part. But I will tell you that initially I was like, why would she even want to be involved with this? It probably would be better if somebody else sentenced him. But she basically just went on with what she was going to do in the first place. And as I said before, I think this was to show, prove a point. Yeah. You're not going to change us just because you can do something stupid in the courtroom.
Darnell, are you surprised this doesn't happen more often?
Yes, I am surprised that the lawyers don't jump across the bench more often. So before we even get to the defendants, because people don't understand it, but we're abused on a daily basis as defense. Again, we do this job, and it's almost like they yell at us. We can't be in the hospital. We can't do anything. And you know, it's a thankless job. Like, you do the impossible for the ungrateful, your client, and then the courts doesn't appreciate it. So, you know, I'm speaking tongue in cheek, but you know, I'm up late at nights, 1, 2, 3, 4 in the morning. We're doing this work, and the courts don't care.
Which time zone, though? Which time zone, Darnell? We never know where you are. You're like all over the world.
A guy in Antigua, for God's sakes.
Oh,
boy, it's really sad. They're so mean to us. Oh, dear
That's
God
why he
in
has to go on
heaven.
vacation.
Shut up.
There we go. All right.
Al, you know the work that I do, Al.
Yeah. You're selling papaya on the boulevard over there.
There you go. All right. Stay where you are, folks. Up next. FSU law professor Dan Markel was killed in a murder-for-hire plot, but who hired the killers? Was it just his ex-brother-in-law, Charlie Adelson, or did his ex-mother-in-law, Donna Adelson, also play a role?
I was awakened by my brother screaming.
Pounding on the door, bang, bang, bang.
People don't realize human beings like that can exist in the world.
He said that we'd seen his face and there was no way that he could ever let us go.
They were not going to let me go easily.
You better fight and you better get out of here.
I survived because I'm a born fighter.
I Survived, tonight at 10/9 Central on Court TV.
By having Wendy show up at the crime scene, it means I had to have known about it, and that's why Wendy knew about it. And that's why she was showing up.
Crazy. I mean, it's crazy. It's what you said to me the other day. It's like a movie crazy. Like, wait a minute. These things can happen. These coincidences. It's just a crazy coincidence, but it happens.
Crazy coincidences, just crazy. Or is it a plot to murder? I mean, the jury pretty much said, not a crazy coincidence. This is Charlie Adelson going through Catherine McBanowa's girlfriend to get her father of her children, who's a bit of a criminal, along with his Latin King buddy, to go murder Dan Markel, FSU law professor. He loved his children. He didn't want to leave them. He didn't want them to leave him. He was getting divorced from Wendy, and he was winning in court, absolutely winning in court. But in the end, he ends up getting murdered. And now his former mother-in-law has been implicated and arrested and in court, shackled. She doesn't have the spit thing on her head, but she's shackled coming in, charged as being part of this murder plot. Julie Janae, Court TV legal correspondent, has more for us tonight.
How you doing? Just want to give you this.
Donna Adelson was the target of an undercover operation during the investigation into the murder of her son-in-law, Dan Markel. At the time of his death, the FSU law professor was involved in a custody battle with his ex-wife, Wendy Adelson, who was also Donna's daughter.
And I want to let you know that my brother, he's incarcerated. He helped your family with this problem you guys had up north.
This exchange, referred to by law enforcement as the bump, became evidence that prosecutors used to build their case against Donna's son, Charlie. He was accused of hiring the men who ultimately killed Markel. Charlie was convicted of first-degree murder, along with his ex-girlfriend, Catherine McBanowa, and the men she recruited to carry out the murder.
You are charged with 1 count of murder, 1 count of conspiracy to commit murder, and 1 count of solicitation to commit murder.
Now, Donna Adelson is also charged in the murder-for-hire scheme. The state alleges Donna played an active role in the plot to kill Markel as tensions surrounding the custody dispute began ratcheting up.
In this filing, Dan Markel alleges that on 3 separate occasions in November of 2013, the children informed him of their maternal grandmother, Donna Adelson, disparaging him. The boys indicate that, quote, "Grandma says you're stupid. She says you are trying to take her sunshines away from her." And, quote, "Grandma says she hates you."
Dan Markel was seeking to restrict Donna's access to his 2 children. The so-called grandmother's motion was pending when Markel was killed.
So the motive was clearly there.
How involved were you with the divorce proceedings?
I wasn't really involved with the divorce proceedings.
Charlie Adelson downplayed the alleged motive in his trial. Donna was captured on numerous wiretaps conversing with her son.
Has there been any more drama?
No,
Zero.
zero. I still have some questions and things that I think need to be addressed, but, we'll do that tomorrow.
Prosecutors argued Donna was obsessed with Wendy's divorce and with beating Markel in the custody battle.
Could the defendant have cared enough about his sister's marital problems to commit murder? Maybe, maybe not. But if he didn't, his mom certainly cared enough with both of them. And she was in his ear all the time.
The 73-year-old Donna has maintained her innocence and pleaded not guilty to the charges.
Okay, folks, take a look. Trial date to be determined. So she doesn't have a date yet, but this thing is going to happen. I can't imagine her walking in the courtroom and pleading guilty. I don't think that's happening. I don't think she's taking a deal unless she gives the prosecution her daughter, Wendy, if she was actually involved in all this. Okay, so I think the key to her case is this divorce and what was going on, because things got a little personal between Donna and Dan Markel. Take a look at this. This is a counter motion for enforcement on parenting issues for contempt and sanctions. On 3 specific occasions, Dan Markel was alleging in November of 2013, the children informed Mr. Markel, Abba, Dad, Grandma says you're stupid. When queried as to why Grandma, the maternal grandmother, this is Donna, would say such things, the children replied jointly that it is because she says you are trying to take her sunshines away from her. In December 2013, the youngest son further stated to Mr. Markel in front of the former wife, Abba, Grandma says he hates you. It was personal. Is that part of the motive here, that it got really personal and Donna Adelson was losing in court. Wendy was losing, but she was losing in court and had to kick things up a notch. Is that what prosecutors will allege here? Let's bring back in our think tank, Al Wunsch, Darnell Crossland, and Jennifer Brandt, who's been in the middle of a lot of these battles. What are your thoughts about the role of the mother-in-law / mother in this custody battle? And things seem to be getting personal.
Yeah, Vinnie, I see it a lot that grandparents sometimes are a driving force in custody battles because just like she was saying, Donna Adelson allegedly said, you're trying to take my sunshines away from me by, sometimes it's not even the actual parent who is being difficult or who is not unwilling to share custody with, the person that they're divorcing. But a lot of times it's the grandparents saying,
So let me ask you this, Jennifer. In the context of this murder case, you've got, could it be, because Wendy hasn't been charged, could it be that it was Donna was the driving force and Donna enlisted her captain, Charlie, to then do this whole thing without Wendy really being the driving force behind this murder plot?
I think it's plausible. I mean, it's hard for me to believe that Wendy didn't know anything about it or wasn't somehow involved or knew what this mother seems like she was very controlling over her whole family and wanted to control everybody, including her grandchildren, and didn't want anyone to interfere with that. So it's hard to believe that Wendy didn't know about it or was not, hearing these things. But it's certainly plausible that Charlie, his sister would, how many brothers and sisters are so involved that they would go and kill their, or have someone be hired to kill their former brother-in-law. It seems like mom was whispering in his ear exactly what the prosecutor said, you got to do this to protect the family, to protect me, to, prevent him from taking away the grandchildren. You can envision this kind of discussion, and we've heard some of it with some of the wiretapping and what she was saying to Charlie and kind of talking to him about the actual case quite a bit. So it's crazy that it went this far and that how, the arrogance and the belief that you're not going to be prosecuted and how this is going to turn out okay for these grandkids and for her. That's what's unbelievable. But I can certainly see this kind of thing happening.
Al, what do you think about this bad blood? Because at one point, Dan Markel is also making motions trying to limit Donna Adelson from seeing the children without someone else around to try to prevent what he said was happening here, which is that she's bad-mouthing the children's father to the kids.
And that obviously is a huge issue and a huge problem, and I can see that would happen a lot. But I mean, I know in New Jersey that grandparents have rights and that they can have rights for visitation and things along those lines. And if the kids are being coached or being told terrible things about the father, I'm certain that the way to get around that is that these visitations have to be supervised, or not not at their home, maybe in in a public place. But to go to the level to want to have someone killed,
yes,
especially the father of her grandchildren, I mean, that is just it's just insane. It's absolutely insane. This is a family that has done very well for themselves, have been very successful, and have everything going for them. And to put them to the edge of the point where they have orchestrated the murder of a decent human being, it's frightening. It's really scary.
All right, Darnell, you only have 5 seconds, so you have to give me the 5-second version. That's literally all you have.
Geez, I didn't even know that. Well, I would just say.
Well, Jennifer's getting back at Jennifer got a little extra time there, and now you've got 2 seconds.
I'll get back at just saying that the best interest of the child is the standard. So if the grandparents were involved in the child's life all along, they can show that in court that it's best if they stay in, and they should have done it that way, not by murder.
Up next. In tonight's Tank Takes, a New Orleans police officer gets in trouble for smoking pot while on duty when he is caught on his own body camera doing it. So tonight we're wondering, when should police officers smoke pot?
There was pounding on the door. Bang, bang, bang.
He said that we'd seen his face and there was no way that he could ever let us go.
I survived because I'm a born fighter.
I Survived. Next on Court TV.
A Connecticut mother goes missing. Now, her estranged husband's girlfriend
stands trial for her alleged role in the disappearance.
The Missing Mom Conspiracy Trial. Live coverage begins this week only on Court TV.
Welcome back. Time for tonight's Tank Takes, where we take a look at the world of crime and justice and all those stories that don't fit in the rest of the program. Still with us, our think tank, Al Wunsch, Darnell Crossland, and Jennifer Brandt. Are you ready?
Ready to go?
Born ready.
All right, here we go. Let's get to our first one. Calling this one Pot Cop. An officer down in New Orleans is apparently facing disciplinary action after he was caught smoking weed while on duty by the video on his own body camera. His own body camera. All right, so here's my question tonight. Al, I know you represent a lot of police officers. When should police officers smoke pot?
I believe Chief Trick said it best when they said, the dream police, they live inside our head. The dream police, they come to me in my bed. When they're the dream police, they're allowed to smoke pot.
Vinnie, let me get this one, Vinnie. At roll call, when the sergeant says, are you guys ready to roll? He should have pulled out his joint and just rolled up, got it out the way before he went out into the street. Al, you like that, right, Al?
Forward motion makes you sway like the ocean, my friend.
Ready to roll?
Jennifer Brandt, your thought about Pot Cop tonight?
I think Pot Cop just should have turned off his camera, and then he could have smoked his pot.
While on duty. Wow. Amazing. The world is changing. All right, let's get to our second one. This one's really interesting. I'm calling it Pop-Up Nups. So there was a coffee shop in Indiana apparently caught off guard when there was a pop-up wedding, pop-up nuptials inside. Here it's all happening. It's not like they they asked the coffee shop ahead of time. This isn't a case of wedding crashers, but sort of the wedding party and the bride and groom are crashing the coffee shop. Unbelievable. As we're watching this wedding just happening in a random coffee shop. And I'm wondering here tonight, Jennifer Brandt, do you think they had an open bar here?
An open coffee bar? I mean, Vinny, this one bothers me because this is so wrong on so many levels. I mean, I feel really sorry for the owner of this coffee shop, and hopefully that he is fully compensated for the use of his coffee shop. Boy, just can't believe it. Can't believe that these people did that.
Darnell, well, apparently an invoice has now been sent to the bride for how much the coffee shop charges usually for private parties. I mean, they were, you know, like their cars blocked the entrance where the parking spots were. They held the shop up for about an hour with no notice here. What do you think, Al? Not Al, Darnell, I'm sorry.
The other Al. I'm the other Al. What I oh, that was very good.
Thank you.
What I do notice is that in places like, I'm in the Caribbean now, if you walk into a shop, they look at you strange right away. They want to know, what are you buying? It's just a different vibe. But in the U.S., I can walk into a Marriott every day, use the Wi-Fi, sit in the lounge area. I could run my whole law firm. So we're very open in the U.S. Here, they want to know, what are you here for? What can I do for you? You know, so I think that was pushing our American liberties too far.
Too far. Al, give you the final word on the pop-up wedding.
Ben, it was a beautiful ceremony, but in the future, if there's trouble brewing, there may be coffee grounds for a divorce, and then everyone is going to be depresso. Thank you.
Final story tonight. I'm calling this one Skinny Dip. A man in Alabama apparently facing several charges after he drove to a Bass Pro Shop, crashed his car into a pole in the parking lot, then ran inside, stripped naked, and dove into the large fish tank that they have there. Video of this was posted by Braxton Gates on TikTok. Let's take a look.
Do you think? Did you get that? Yeah, I got that. He did a cannonball. Oh, send me a picture of that. We're going to face the piss out of it. Well, that one's smart.
So who's the real victim here? Take a look. Is it the Bass Pro Shop, the officers who have to see this and arrest them, or the fish in the tank? Al, finish us up here tonight.
Vin, what better place to show off a little bass? Okay?
There you go. Thank you all so much. Happy New Year. Darnell, go ahead. You have 2 seconds.
Well, I just want to say that they said he took a cannonball, and I want to know, if you continue to live in Atlanta, would you start talking like that, Vinny? Darnell?
Al Wunsch, Darnell Crossland, Jennifer Brandt. We'll see you again really, really soon. All right, folks, before we go tonight, we have a missing child. Please take a close look at the screen. This is Dion Porter, missing out of Kansas City, Missouri since Christmas, 17 years old. You see him? Pick up the phone, 911, 1-800-THE-LOST, or you can call the Kansas City Police Department. Numbers on the screen. I'm Vinnie Politan. Thank you for watching. Have a great night. And please don't forget to hug the kids.